Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have here another 10 pens currently inked up this week. So I think let's just go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Omas Milord in the Arco Brown. We have an Omas Paragon in the Arco Brown. We have an Omas Arte Italiana Paragon Grande in the Arco Brown. We have a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero in the Grand Copper. We have a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero in the Grand Carabe. We have a Pelikan M805 Ocean Swirl. We have a Pelikan M800 Grand Place. We have a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero, and this is in the Blue Abyss. We have a Classic Pens LM1 in the Flame Red, and then last but not least, we have a Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaoseki or Metal Ore. So I think let's just go through these pens in a little bit more detail. As you probably know by now, I do like my Omas and I do like my Arco Brown material or Arco Bronze material, and this is the reason why. This is a absolutely stunning material. It's polished with a sort of beeswax type compound there, but you can see that this is just absolutely stunning. So I managed to pick this up second hand from this was Ray at Vintage and Modern Pens. This is an original Omas. It's Milord. It's a piston filling pen, and it comes with an 18 karat gold, and it's a medium nib on there. But this actually writes really nicely. So just see that there on that nib on the side. But this really is a beautiful pen. And if I can get the pattern to line up, there you go. It does take a little while to remember how to line the patterns up because each pen actually lines up slightly differently. The next pen, again, I got from Ray at Vintage and Modern Pens, and this is the Omas Paragon in the Arco Brown, and again this is absolutely stunning material. You can see why I love this material. It just sparkles in or shines in terms of just how it looks. It's a beautiful, beautiful material. So this is smaller than the Milord, but again, it's an original. It comes with an Omas nib there, and this is a 18 karat gold nib. And this is actually a broad nib, strangely enough, but this actually I find it is a little bit on the thin side for me in terms of the section, so I tend to write with it a little bit higher up, but I do love this Arco material. It really is stunning. And when I say it's a little bit smaller, you can see here in comparison with the Milord there, I do prefer either the Milord or this size, which is the Paragon Grande. So you can see the difference between the Paragon and the Paragon Grande. So if you're looking out for any Omases, you can see there's a huge size difference between these two pens. So I also have, obviously, the Omas Arte Italiana Paragon Grande inked up, and just line up the pattern there. You can see, again, this is a beautiful, stunning pen. I really, really do love this material. It's just, I think it's one of these like Marmite moments. You either love it or you hate it. And to be honest, I actually did not like it to start with, but over the years I've actually grown more accustomed to this material, and I really do love it. It's a beautiful material. So this is the Paragon Grande. So not only is it a piston filling pen, but it also has this gold plated vermeil. So it's a gold plate over silver. And it comes with an 18 karat gold medium nib with an ebonite feeder there. They all come with ebonite feeders, the Omases, but this is a beautiful nib, and I will try and match that pattern up, and I will get it right eventually. And then Another pen that I have inked up, I have a number of pens. The Leonardo pens in this tray today are actually on loan to me from John at St John's Pens, so I'd like to thank him for that. Give him a shout out for that as well. I have this one inked up. This is the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero in the Grande Copper. And I have to say, this is actually quite a nice material. It reminds me a little bit more of the Omar Scarlet Red, but more of a coppery orangey sort of colour there. But that really is a lovely material. It's a resin material. Now the nib on here is a medium steel nib. It's a Bock nib. But you can see there the gap between the tines there. It's actually quite a nice pen. It does come with an ebonite feeder though. Leonardo have started switching more to the ebonite feeders. I'm just going to see if we can get that matched up there. Again, like most of these pens will have multiple threads, so depending on when you start the thread, it depends on where that pattern is going to end. And another pen here that is also on loan from John at St John's Pens is the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero Grande Caribe. And Caribe or Caribbean, this really is a lovely sort of colour. And I think it was named after the Caribbean because of the lovely, lush, sort of greeny, bluey seas that you have there in the Caribbean or Caribbean. And this really is a nice one. So this is number 25, and this is beautiful. So this, along with the copper, is a cartridge converter pen. Now I will show you here. It comes with a steel fine nib, but it's a really good size, and I do love this size since I got my Grande version of this pen. I'll try and line that up again. No, let's see if it can go lined up now. But I do like that. It's the size of that pen is a really great size for me. So for me, that size, the shape is a winner. And then we have a Pelikan, and this is the M805 Ocean Swirl. And this has quite a bit of controversy because when Pelikan showed off the initial promo images, it basically showed you the pen like this. So everybody thought that pattern was what you would see all of the way around the pen. And you don't. You tend to see it really at like 12 and 6 or at 180 degrees. And nowhere else on the pen, but that didn't bother me. I do love this pen. It's beautiful material. It's a Pelikan M805. I got this with a broad steel nib, and you'll see there that, sorry, I say steel nib. It's an 18 karat gold nib. Getting carried away with myself there, but it really is. It's a piston filler. It's a beautiful pen. I do like writing with these Pelikan pens. So for me, that again is a nice pen that I have inked up this week. I also have this one inked up, and again this is another Pelikan. It's an M800 and it's the Grand Place, but this is a beautiful colour pen that you can see there, all of the browns and the bits of blue all mixing in there as well. It's just a beautiful pen, and again I got this with a Pelikan broad nib. If I just see if I can get that in focus there you go. It's an 18 karat gold broad nib, but it's just a really good writer. So I love that pen, and I have that one inked up as well. And then the last Leonardo that we have in this tray that's inked up this week is a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero in the Blue Abyss, and this is a beautiful material. It's a very dark material, hence the name Blue Abyss. But you can see there, this is number 84 of 100, so this one is a limited edition. Now this one is a piston filling pen. It's because it's a limited edition, so it's not a cartridge converter, and it also has a 14 karat gold medium nib there, and this is the Leonardo nib, but it's a Bock nib. It comes with an ebonite feed, but again, this really is a good size of my hand. I do prefer the Grandes now over the regular size, although I do still have several regular size in my collection, but the Grandes are really what do it for me, because they are very much similar to the Paragon Grandes. And then we have the Classic Pens LM1, and this is the Flame Red, and this is made of diffusion bonded acrylic. It's a stunning material. I do love this red, and I do get asked a number of times, will I ever sell this? The answer is possibly yes, but only if I could find an LB5 in the red, because I do like this red a lot. I would prefer it in an LB5 if I could. I couldn't get it in an LB5, so I got it in an LM1 instead. But this has the Bock 18 karat gold. It's a medium nib there, but you can see in the size of my hand it's actually a really good size. It's a cartridge converter like all classic pens are, but it's a beautiful pen to write with. So I have that inked up this week. And then last but not least, we have the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaoseki. And yes, I normally bring these two out together because they are a good, lovely pair. But you can see that this, again, is using that same diffusion bonded acrylic, but this is the metal ore version, or brown Kaoseki version. But this really is a beautiful material. This one, the LB5s are made by Sailor. So it is a Sailor King of Pen, but it's an LB5 Kaoseki. And you have the limited edition number there, 47 and 50. And if I unscrew this, you can see there the Sailor King of Pen nib. And this is a medium nib, so it's an Asian medium, so it writes a little bit more like a Western fine nib. It's a cartridge converter pen, but again, I just love this pen, so I'm glad I was able to pick that up when I did and add it to my collection, because they have gone up a lot in price over the last couple of years, so I'm glad I was able to add that one to my collection. So I think with that, let's do a writing sample. So the first pen we have here inked up is the Omos Milord in the lovely Arco Brown. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now, I do find that this nib isn't the best writing Omos nib or Bock nib that I have. It has a little bit, or actually has quite a bit of feedback on it, and it's more like a fine nib to me. But it's a lovely pen. So I actually do write with it, just probably not as much as maybe I should do. But it's let me write this. It's an Omos Milord. Although it has the pencil, a bit more of a pencil-like feedback, it really is super wet and it has a lot of bounce to it. So this is why I like this nib more. Omos Milord in the Arco Brown, and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Akamon SBRE Brown. But you can see there that nib is very, very wet. The next pen is the Omos Paragon in the Arco Brown. So again, we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, this is a broad nib. Now just look, although this is actually a little bit more of a drier nib, just look at this wet, this sort of colour of ink here, that it looks very different. So this is an Omos Paragon, and it is the Arco Brown. That was actually starting to run a little bit low, a little bit dry on ink there. So this is a broad 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here again is Akamon SBRE brown. But you can see that the colours change so massively. So when you get a bottle of ink and you think, oh, this is not how I thought this ink was going to look, try it in a different pen, because you might think that the ink colour is going to remain the same, but it doesn't. It really depends on the nib that you put it in, or the pen that you put it in. The next pen inked up is the Omos Arte Italiana Paragon Grande in the Arco Brown. You can see there, beautiful material. So again, we'll do an ink swatch. Now this is a medium nib, but definitely a lot wetter than that broad nib is. So this is the Omos Arte Italiana Paragon Grande in a medium 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here again is Akamon SBRE brown. But again, this is 3 different pens with the same ink, and 2 of them are mediums, 1 of them is broad. But you can just see the difference there in that ink colour. It's actually quite amazing. The next pen is a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero Grande in the copper. So let's do an ink swatch. Now this is a medium nib, just checking it there. Now you can see that this is a moderately wet nib, it's not a fire hose nib by any stretch. So this is a Leonardo Momento Zero Grande in the medium steel nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Ancient Copper. But that is, I think, actually quite a good match for that pen. The next pen is a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero Grande in the Caribbean or Caribbean. So we'll do an ink swatch. Now this is a fine nib, but you can see here this is still quite a wet writing nib. It's the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande, and it's a fine steel nib. And then the ink in here is Robert Oster Fire and Ice. And I think that's actually a good combination. The next pen we have is the Pelikan M805 Ocean Swirl. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now this is a broad nib, so you'll see that here in the line variation. So it's a Pelikan M805 Ocean Swirl. And this nib does sing a little bit, I find. It's a broad 18 karat gold nib, and then the ink in here is Diamine Marine. The next pen is the Pelikan M800 Grand Plus. Again, another ink swatch. And this is a lovely broad nib, quite a smooth writer. So it's a Pelikan M800 Grand Plus in a broad, and it's a 18 karat gold nib. Actually, I think Grand actually only doesn't have an E on it. And then the ink in here is Jeheben Lee de Tea, or tea leaves. The next pen is a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero in the blue abyss. So let's do an ink swatch. Now, just having a look. This is a medium nib, but it's actually quite a wet writing nib. It's actually also, because it's a limited edition version, it's got a 14 karat gold nib on there as well. So this is the Leonardo, and it is the Momento Zero, and it's the blue abyss, and it's a medium 14 karat gold nib, which writes really nicely. And then the ink in here is Blackstone Barrier Reef. I think that also matches the pen quite nicely. The next pen I have inked up is the Classic Pens LM1 in the flame red. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now this is a medium Bock nib, but it is quite a wet writer. So it's a classic. Oh, I've got something in the tines there. Classic. There you go, that's better. Pens, and it's the LM1 in the flame red. There's some paper fibres, and it's a medium 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is it's Blackstone Uluru red, which is actually quite a nice red ink. And then last but not least, we have the Classic Pens LB5 in the Kaoseki. So again, we'll do an ink swatch, and this is a medium Asian nib, so it writes more like a Western Fine to me, but it writes very, very nicely. So this is the Classic Pens LB5, and you can see what I mean. It really is more like a fine nib. It's the Kaoseki in, technically it's a medium nib, although it's a Western Fine. I guess I could put a Western Fine there. It's a 21 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku Sakushi, which is basically horse's tail. So let's just go through these pens inked up one more time. We have an Omos Milord in the Arco Brown in a medium 18 karat gold nib, inked up with Akamon SBRE Brown. We have an Omos Paragon in the Arco Brown with a broad 18 karat gold nib, again inked up with Akamon SBRE Brown. We have an Omos Arte Italiana Paragon Grande in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Akamon SBRE brown, and you can really see the three different hues there of brown coming out. We have a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero Grande in a medium steel nib inked up with Diamine Ancient Copper. And we have a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero Grande in the Caribbean in a fine steel nib inked up with Robert Oster Fire and Ice. We have a Pelican M805 Ocean Swirl in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Marine. We have a Pelican M800 Grand Place in a broad 18 karat gold nib inked up with Jehaben Lidete. We have a Leonardo Officina Italiana Momento Zero in a blue abyss in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with Blackstone Barrier Reef, just off camera there. And then we have a Classic Pens LM1 in the flame red with a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Blackstone Uluru Red. And then last but not least, we have a Classic Pens LB5 Kaoseki in a medium or Western Fine 21 karat gold nib inked up with Pilot Iwashizuku Sakushi. So there you have it, that's my currently inked pens for this week. Thanks for watching, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.